am supposed to be there and that I belong there. And
So first, can I just get to know you a little bit? Can you tell me your name, what you major in college, and what year you graduated?
sure. So my name is Charles Robinson-Snead. Was born and raised in Delaware. I'm actually from Sussex County. Grew up in Laurel. And my major at Dell State was psychology, and I was a forensic science minor. And I graduated in 2014.
And so just to start off, to get a sense of back home, being here at Delaware State University and talking to you, what what was your best experience here at Delaware State?
Like just one good experience.
Yeah.
Uh,
You can say multiple if you have them all. I totally understand this is an amazing
yeah,
place.
I think I just had an
I think I just had an
overall
overall.
really good experience at Dell State. From my freshman year to my senior year, I think probably the most pivotal point for me at Dell State, well, one of the most pivotal points for me at Dell State was in my freshman year. It was during like, the freshman welcome week, and there's like so many different events that happened that week. And I remember one of the events being in the gym, in the basketball gym, and it was so packed, first of all, with so many people there, because it wasn't just the freshman class, but it was also like we got a chance to meet upperclassmen. But that was the time where they also formally introduced us to who our SGA board was going to be, as well as the Royal Court. And I remember the exact side of the bleachers I was sitting on. I was sitting on the side adjacent to like the entrance, and seeing um, Richie Cyrus and Tiffany Laban walk in. That was my Mr. and Mrs. DSU from my freshman year. Seeing them walk into the gym was like overwhelming because I had never seen Black people in my presence, like wearing crowns and sashes and dresses and gowns and suits. And it was like the whole thing. So as soon as they walked in, we knew that they were something different. We just didn't know, what the royal court meant. But that was a very pivotal point for me because it was that moment where I realized like I wanted to also be in that position. And to know me is to know that when I have an idea in my mind, I'm going to pursue it. And so when I saw them walk into the gym in their um, just in all of their regalia, I made it a point after it was over to connect with them and to ask them questions and to find out if they could mentor me through that experience to becoming Mr. DSU. So that was like probably one of the most pivotal points for me at Dell State.
I wanted to know, how has your perspective changed on your views on college as well as just HBCUs now that you've experienced it?
Essentially, like I remember I had a conversation with myself when I first got to Dell State. Um, it was a trial and error to get in just because of my academic record and my behavioral record made it really hard for me to get accepted into a school. Thankfully, at that time, and I think this is something that still happens today, but at that time, Dell State would send actual admissions counselors out to the high schools. And so I was able to meet an admissions counselor in person and just kind of tell them my story and what I was trying to do from where I was at in the place that I was at. And I think hearing me out and really just getting a chance to connect with me as a person, the admissions counselor at that time uh, could tell that I was really trying to make some efforts toward change. And so he gave me an opportunity and accepted me, even though I didn't meet the GPA requirement. He still took a chance and gave me an opportunity to come to Dell State. So I had a conversation with myself, like, hey, this is your opportunity to do something different and to be different. And so take it seriously. And so I didn't give myself any slack to kind of fall into the old patterns that I was used to. So I think that being at Dell State supported that, like supported me and improving myself, maturing, growing, developing, flourishing, because there were so many different opportunities to get involved in student leadership organizations, mentorship, speaking to academic advisors, going to office hours, just things of that sort, tutoring services, the writing center. I stayed in the writing center. I can't even tell you how much time I spent in the writing center, just, getting my work looked over, but also just learning from them. So there were so many different resources put in place. And so I think my view of HBCU, well, my views of college at large changed because I finally got accepted into something I didn't think I would be accepted into. So I started to see possibilities for myself that I didn't see before. But I think my views of HBCUs changed because I was getting a personal experience beyond the stories that I would hear from family members, and just to kind of be in the space, like I still to this day, and I've been an admissions counselor. I came back to Del State to work as an admissions counselor for a few years, and I've been to different schools. I've been to I'm currently at an HBCU pursuing my doctoral degree, and it doesn't matter any other campus I go on. I promise you, Del State's the best one. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you, Del State is the best HBCU that there is. I mean, it just doesn't get any better. The feel that I get from Del State from the fall semester of 2010, and here we are in the fall of 2024, 14 years later, I still get the same feel for Del State. And it's just a beautiful thing. So I think, yeah, I think Del State is amazing in HBCU vision and mission to do what we do as a HBCU mission, from like those 1890 land grant institutions all the way back when folks were trying to, make sure that Black individuals could pursue quality education up until now, to see how it's growing and flourishing. I love it.
And I'm so happy that you found a love for HBCU, because I definitely have.
Yeah,
But there are not always happy moments when it comes to HBCU, when it comes to being
sure,
at college.
for sure.
So did you face any hardships while being in college, and how did you overcome them?
100%, 100%. Yeah, I mean, love HBCUs, love Del State, but we already know what it is with admin, right? Like I have had my own experiences and difficulties and things when it comes to like the financial aid process, student accounts process, registration process. A lot of times I think one of the things that I think we'll hear as a common theme when it comes to attending an HBCU is that we love the culture of the university. We love the education that we get, but then sometimes there can be difficulties when it comes to the administrative processes. And so I definitely have had my fair share of difficulties when it comes to not having enough money from FAFSA and trying to figure out how I'm going to cover the rest of the bill, because I'm a first generation college student and I come from a single parent household on a fixed income who cannot provide me financial support. So what does that look like for me? And that was what I faced almost every single semester that I was at Del State, trying to figure it out. And so for me, what helped me navigate it was building relationships. I mean, I built relationships with everybody in the in the admin building. I was just there on random days, even when I didn't have a problem. I would just be there building relationships with people, because for me, I knew it was going to be relationships. It was relationships that got me into Del State, and I felt like it was going to be the relationships that kept me there through my matriculation. And so I just started building good relationships with people. And like I said, not building relationships with the perspective that I'm looking to get something out of it, but building relationships for the sake of a relationship. And going and checking on people, seeing how their day is going, running errands for people, just to kind of take a load off of them if they needed some support or help with something. And that, like I said, I would do that on days where I didn't need anything. And I think what happened was, because I showed up consistently and built a relationship with a lot of people in the admin building, when I did need help with something, it was a no-brainer. And it was so easy to get the help and the support that I needed. And the beautiful thing about that is that many people that I built relationships with from that admin from 2010 to 2014, I still have a relationship with today. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
And we definitely be needing that motivation to keep going.
And I promise you, it ain't the end of the world. There's such
Yeah.
a big world out there. I mean, think about, like, I continue to think about just opportunities that I've gotten. I mean, it's crazy. While I was getting my master's, coming back to work at Del State as an admissions counselor, they would pay me to travel around the school and tell people, travel around and tell people about Del State, right? Like, you literally get paid to like travel around the country to tell people about Del State, to attend open houses, to attend college fairs, to attend conferences and organizations and programs, and just to talk to people about Del State. And so that was one thing that I think came as a byproduct of being a student at Del State. But then even as I'm here at Howard, there's been so many beautiful blessings I've been able to experience. I've been training in a lot of different areas that a lot of students don't get the privilege to train. Like last year, I did my clinical training at George Mason University. This year, my clinical training is at the Washington, D.C. Superior Court's Child Guidance Clinic. I've also done research with it's called the RISE, the John Lewis Summer RISE Graduate Fellowship. I did that last summer and that was with Kennedy Krieger, Johns Hopkins University, and the CDC. And they actually flew us to CDC for a week in Atlanta, and we got a chance to do research and use their library on their campus, which was a really dope experience. And then this past summer, I was a summer intern for Johns Hopkins University, College of their College of Education, Center for Safe and Healthy Schools, and then their Gun Violence Solutions and Prevention Department. And this upcoming summer, I got an opportunity through Howard University, through one of my professors. So this upcoming summer, I'll be going to Rwanda to co-teach a class to first-year med students for 3 weeks. And so these are the things that happen when you are a student at the HBCU. They just kind of fall in your lap.
I want to ask you, what is something you would tell your freshman self entering college at Delaware State University?
If I'm honest, thinking about that question gets me emotional because I think about who I was at that time. I came into Del State. I remember just with a lot of insecurities and just not being sure of myself, not knowing if I would be able to actually complete, because I shared with you all about my academic history prior to actually getting into Del State. I was excited that I got accepted. I just didn't know if I had what it took to actually come in and complete. So I just had so many insecurities and just didn't believe fully in myself. So I probably would spend a lot of time affirming myself, validating myself, like letting myself know that I can do it and that I belong here, right? Like that I am gonna make it through, that even if it gets hard, that I have everything that I need to be successful. So I probably would just really spend a lot of time in the mirror affirming myself and validating myself and just continue to encourage myself over and over and over again that I am supposed to be there and that I belong there and that that I can do it.
I definitely think that's something that Delaware State students should tell themselves every day.
Sure.
Because we are making history being here. We are Black students getting their education and growing as a community, which is an accomplishment every day. So I
100%.
thank you so much for this accomplishment of talking to you and showing me that as a Delaware State student, as a Black student, as a Black person on this earth, that I'm able to accomplish so much, whether
Yeah,
with doubt, insecurity, I am able to do it. And I thank you so much for that.
absolutely. 100%.